Do you ever feel like you are trapped in an endless cycle of procrastination? Procrastinating, feeling guilty for procrastinating, and then procrastinating even more, despite knowing that you are capable of so much more. The truth is that you're not lazy. Even though it seems like that, even though people judge you that this is laziness, no, it's not laziness, and for sure you're not alone. Procrastination isn't just about putting things off, it's often tied to perfectionism, instant gratification, and even fear of success. Ooh, that's something that's not many people talk about, but we're going to explore that psychological concept here. So today, let's dive into why smart, ambitious people procrastinate and how to break the cycle for good. Hi, I'm Vassia. I'm a psychologist, founder of Anti-Loneliness, and this is the place where high achievers like you learn to overcome perfectionism, procrastination, and burnout so that you can thrive personally and professionally. If you're ready to unlock your full potential, don't forget to subscribe for more insights, tips, and strategies. Today's video is all about procrastination for specifically smart, high achieving people, why it happens, and more importantly, how to stop it. We will uncover the hidden drivers behind your procrastination, which is the most important thing about procrastination, but also bust some myths and give you actionable strategies to move forward with confidence. So, first of all, why smart people procrastinate? The first and most important reason is, yeah, you guessed it. So I'm going to say the same thing again, perfectionism. Yes, perfectionism as a barrier. For many high achievers, the need to do everything perfectly is paralyzing. You think, if I cannot do it perfectly, then why start at all? And this do it perfectly is not only just about the quality. Usually we visualize huge goals with unrelenting standards that already just by imagining that makes us feel overwhelmed, and then we procrastinate. This is the mindset that delays progress and keeps us stuck. I remember that one entrepreneur that I worked with, she was delaying launching her product for months because she was afraid that it wasn't perfect enough. And her product was a fantastic app that it was so useful and people needed that, but she was just delaying it because it wasn't perfect enough. So in the end, of course, she missed a key market window and somebody else created a very similar app. And that was something that really her future self deeply regretted. So psychologically, perfectionism and our achievements, actually, our perfect achievements, our perfect goals are tied to the concept of self worth, which is overly linked to our achievements. We are our results. If our results are perfect, we are perfect. And that's why we really are afraid of putting something imperfect out there because we think it says something about us, about our self worth. So if your value depends on your output, the stakes of starting something, anything, can feel impossibly high. So I have a question for you. Are you holding back on something because you're afraid that it will not meet your high standard? Are you already fantasizing something that is enormous, gigantic? And what would happen if you allow yourself to imagine something smaller for start? Of course, you can go there and you can grow gradually. But what would happen if you allow yourself to imagine something smaller, more achievable, more attainable, and to start it perfectly? The second concept that I would like to bring now as a reason that why smart people procrastinate is dopamine and instant gratification. Our brains are wired to chase quick wins, but especially for smart people who are always overthinking, always analyzing, rationalizing, intellectualizing, this reward is like a break from their brain overthinking all the time. So, yes, big complex tasks, they can feel daunting in comparison, of course. And instead, a smart person, a high achiever, might want to avoid for a little bit this challenging task and find themselves scrolling through social media or emails that are very easy, and it takes, and it's a no-brainer to respond to, or cleaning their desk or doing something completely irrelevant, because those activities give you a quick dopamine hit. But here's the thing, that short term reward robs your future self of long term success. And neurologically, that is a classic conflict between the limbic system, who it seeks immediate pleasure, and the prefrontal cortex, which governs long term planning. That's why you really know that you should go back to finishing that task which is important for your business. You really know that. Not rationally, you know that's what you're supposed to do. But eventually you don't do it because you seek immediately, your brain seeks immediate pleasure. So when we learn to override this instinct, that's the key to overcoming procrastination. What are some emotional drivers of procrastination? First of all, as I said before in the introduction, fear of success. Procrastination isn't always about fearing failure. That's something that we have heard very often, and especially how fear of failure is tied to perfectionism. But sometimes it's about fearing success and what success might bring that drives procrastination. And what is that we are afraid that success might bring? What is so scary about success? Well, higher expectations. People might expect more from us, more pressure, bigger responsibilities, more time on work. I remember a client of mine, she told me that if I hit my revenue goal, what's next? I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to sustain that or even outgrow that. And maybe I will even fall below that level. So that was very scary scenario for her. What if I cannot sustain that and then I will go backwards instead of forward? So that can be a fear that will keep us from even starting something. And psychologically, that is an inner conflict between growth and safety. One part of our brain wants safety and what we have already achieved and wants to cocoon in there. And another part of our brain wants risk, growth, expansion, and getting out of the comfort zone. So success can feel like stepping into unknown territory, triggering anxiety and self doubt. Now let's go to something really, really important. I really love that emotional driver of procrastination, rebellion against authority. Smart people often believe that what they know is true, or what they choose is the right decision. And they often resist rules, especially the ones that are coming outside of them. But also rules, and that's the paradox, even the rules that they impose on themselves. So when they say to themselves, you have to finish that report, it's a rule that they themselves rebel against. Maybe it's a strict deadline, but instead of following it, you're procrastinating as a way of rebelling against that eternal authority. You name it. I mean, I already mentioned two examples, but it's an ironic, self defeating cycle. But recognizing it can help you break free. Question for you. Have you ever noticed yourself procrastinating just because you feel forced to do something? Just because you don't want to do that, you don't like it, you don't want to do things that you don't like. What if you reframed the task as a choice instead of an obligation? It's up to you. It's up to you how you want to see that. Do you want to see that as obligation? Feel free. But you know that you're going to stumble upon that. But what about you reframe it as a choice? You choose to do something even though it's boring. So, by the way, if procrastination and perfectionism are holding you back in your business, my 4 month transformational program, Stop Perfectionism and Start Growing, is here to help. It is specifically designed for entrepreneurs like you to take bold steps, overcome self doubt, and create the success that you're dreaming of. Not only entrepreneurs, but also ambitious professionals. And the link, you can find it below. What are some productivity myths that keep you stuck? One is I work better under pressure. I've heard that a million times. And you know what? When I say to people, yes, that might be true, you work better under pressure, is that something that you would like to keep on happening in your life? Do you like what's happening before the night before you deliver something? Oh no, I hate it. That's what they all say to me. Oh no, I hate my life when I have to pull an all nighter, or not only one, but many, just two or three the nights before I have to deliver, and push back everything else in my life, neglect my kids, my partner, my personal life, my friends. I don't like that. So this is one of the biggest lies we tell to ourselves. Yes, adrenaline. I know adrenaline, it can help you focus in the short term, but it's not a sustainable strategy. And waiting until the last minute often leads to rust, maybe lower quality work that your future self also will regret. And not to mention another psychological consequence on that, chronic stress. Just because you prefer this last minute pressure, that doesn't mean that it's fun. Your brain is actually heavily impacted at that moment or these moments because of chronic stress, and that can impair cognitive function and creativity, leaving you burned out eventually and completely dissatisfied. Another myth is that multitasking equals efficiency. Multitasking feels productive, but in reality, there's no such thing as multitasking. It's called switch tasking, and your brain divides attention and slows you down. You move from one task to another. So imagine an entrepreneur juggling multiple projects at once. None of them gets the focus and the quality and the attention they deserve, and they all end up delayed. How to break that cycle? Let's see. Reframe procrastination as strategy. Procrastination, as we said, is not laziness. It's often a way to avoid discomfort. So ask yourself, what am I really avoiding here? Is it fear of failure or maybe fear of judgment? Once you identify that emotion, you can address it directly. Another thing, use your intellectual curiosity to your advantage. Like smart people thrive on learning. So turn tasks into challenges, experiments, games. Get points if you finish your challenges. So make it fun. If you have, for example, and you're dreading a sales pitch, think of it as an opportunity to test a new approach and gather insights. Like the ABT testing that we're doing when we are launching a new campaign, for example, have two different types of sales pitch, and then you try one in one event and the other one in the other one, and then you turn something that you were afraid of into a game. Another thing that you can do is leverage future visualization. Picture your future self completing that task. Visualize how you will feel when this will be complete, how proud you will feel, how much stress you will avoid, and get in there and have that visualization for, like not only a couple of minutes, just more minutes, 10 minutes, write it down and imagine how you would feel at the other side if you would keep delaying. Now, when you see these two sides of yourself, then use that motivation in order to take action now. And last but not least, let me give you a practical tip: time blocking. Use small, short periods of time so that you can perform and you can be productive. Don't say, I'm going to work for 3 hours. That's not going to work. This is exhausting, and especially if you're highly focused. Focus, you probably heard of the Pomodoro technique. Focus on 20 minutes of productivity. Take a little bit of a break, like 5 minutes, and then go back. Set aside focused, distraction free blocks of time where you work on one specific task at a time, not three at a time. Don't have three different tabs for three different tasks in front of you. That's completely distracting and you will procrastinate for sure. So during these blocks, remind yourself that imperfect action is better than no action. Procrastination isn't always a bad thing. Maybe it's your brain being tired and you want a break. It's okay. Maybe it's your brain that wants to process something. Fantastic. In procrastination, sometimes we become even more creative than when we're actually working. So allow your brain to procrastinate intentionally, sometimes short, intentional breaks to process without feeling guilty. And as we said, remember, procrastination can spark creativity, right? So now it's your turn. Which of these reasons for procrastination resonated most with you? I mean, I procrastinate all the time. I know that. But it's the intentional procrastination. And it's always, for me, an opportunity to see what kind of emotion is triggering this procrastination. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let me know which small step you will take in order to move forward. Don't forget to hit subscribe because there's some future videos that will come up and will help you break free from procrastination, perfectionism, and burnout. You don't want to miss them, right? And don't forget to check out the Stop Perfectionism and Start Growing program that will be very useful for you, a smart high achiever. Your future self will thank you. Also, I thank you for watching, and until next time, take good care of yourself.